What's up, AfterBuzzers? It's your favorite time of week again. And guys, episode 8 was so intense. There's so much to talk about. But on top of it, we have not one, but 2 special guests, so you won't want to miss it.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, I love this song so much. I'm going to be chanting
From executive producers Maria.
I love it. And the last few minutes that you first started.
Yes. It was so emotional at the end. Like, it was such the perfect song to end this entire episode with. So, what's up, everyone? Thanks so much for joining us. Sorry we're running a little behind, but believe me, it's going to be amazing. It was worth the wait. Thank you guys for joining us. My name's Candice Cruz.
And I'm Leslie Ambriz.
I'm Alex Bowers.
I'm Jorge Pallo.
And on the couch, we have King George himself, Ryan Onan.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Like a pop talk. There we go.
George.
Clap.
And then, all right, I'm going to throw it on over to you as well.
Oh, yeah, we got a pretty special guest, a pretty wicked guest by the name of Yancey Arias, also known as General Cortez. What's up?
Órale, carnal.
Well, we love to hate you. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's like my tagline. Like I should have a shirt, loved and hated, you know?
Loved it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, we definitely want to jump right into, I mean, for both of you guys, you both had such intense storylines throughout this entire episode and this season, to be honest. Like, what is going on in your head right now with this whole scenario and all your different plays on everybody?
Well, I mean, you know, when you have a show as good as this one, and I'll put all my bias aside, it's you know, the fans have spoken. It's a great show, and with the power struggle that is, you know, involved in a show like this, you have everybody going at it, you know, going after the brass ring. And so you have all these talented actors like Ryan, you know, writer, actor, producer, you know, who comes in there every week to week with all the other actors and all of us combined, just bringing our 150% and doing, you know, what we do as best as we can to portray that power struggle in the world of the narcos. You know, you're just going to get a lot of raw, crazy energy, and we all bring it, and I'm very proud to be a part of all of it, and I know Ryan can attest to all that.
Yeah, man, it's an amazing group. We're really, really blessed to just have the people that are involved in it. Everybody gives their all. It's rad.
Oh, absolutely. Every single character seems to have, like, their own objective and their own backstory, and which adds to their humanity. Even the villains like Cortez. I mean, my big question to you, really, Yancey, is who hurt you, man? What the heck, Cortez? Why so glum, chum?
Yeah. It's interesting because so much of that is like my own personal creation, like, you know, the backstory of Cortez, and, you know, every so often I'll pitch ideas to the writers like Ryan, and, you know, he'll get an email once a week, you know, from so like, hey man, what if we introduce this side of Cortez? Like, what happened to him when he was a kid, or this, that, or whatever, you know, or, you know, and he's so gracious, and all the writers are. They're really great about, you know, taking what they think could be appropriate for the overall goal of the project, of the episode to episode. So you know,
We always do it with a lot of heart too, man. I mean, that's part of it. You dream of having people that care as much about curating their own character and the building of it and everything that goes into it, like you do, brother.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, what doesn't actually end up on the page, it comes through the screen from a quiet beat. You know, from whatever it is that we do. What I'm sure what Ryan does the same thing is, like, if we don't actually say what you know, our history, you get a sense that there's definitely, like you said, who hurt this boy. That these people have a lot of past, and they're very specific. And guys like Ryan, myself, and everyone else, you know, we're bringing what is not being said, you know, in between, and it's really powerful. From I mean, it's such a great synergy and energy to be involved in. Like everybody just like living in that danger zone, that, you know.
Yeah. Now, is there something that before you guys, before the both of you even get into character, that sort of triggers you into character? Some sort of ritual or something that you use to get into the mindset of King George or to get into the mindset of General Cortez?
I always hear just like screaming inside Yancey's trailer. He's just like sounds of like whipping and screaming like. So I don't know what he's doing in there, but.
Oh man.
No, man.
But he's alone.
At least it's not one of the PAs on set.
That is true.
You know what's funny? I'm sorry if you thought it was screaming. I was actually singing in my trailer half the time.
Yancey, for you, do you ever come across any fans that can't separate your character from who you really are?
Yeah, there was like one poster, like one person who posted, they'd be like, "Oh my God, are you really like that?" I'm like, let's see. I'm a married man with one child and one on the way.
Congrats. Yeah.
Yeah, I love my mom. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean,
Just a really good actor.
Sound like a monster.
I know, right? Sounds like a monster of a dad. But I'll tell you, just to answer your question real quick, I forgot who asked the question, but
Alex.
For me, like, when you create a character, one of the things that you always love to have is, say, an object. Some kind of object in your own personal history that you can lend to the character that's appropriate and that is relevant to the story. If there's a past that you created for the character, then you have your own personal past that you can lend to the character, and it becomes raw and real. And it's an informed execution. It's not something that you're just grabbing from the air. So I believe almost every actor should, for sure, if they are wanting to do great work throughout their lives, remember the object. The object is important because all you have to do before a take is just feel the object in your pocket and you're there. You know what I mean? It's just like something that's special to you. And
for me,
music,
it's a gold thong that I have underneath my costume at all times. So if I just kind of move a little bit, there it is. There it is. It just
I
gets
gotta
me
be
right
honest,
there.
that's very fitting for King George. That makes total sense to me.
I thought you were going gold chain.
No.
That makes sense.
Oh, my God.
Wearing it right now.
He actually has a chastity belt.
Oh my God.
Well, what's your object then, Yancey?
For everybody's a different thing. Like for me, like I chose a specific, like a charm that my father gave me, something to that effect. And we never get into Cortez's parents, but that's something that that lives in Cortez. The failures, the triumphs, and all that.
The mommy issues.
To prove himself. Mommy issues, exactly. Daddy issues. Those kinds of things. That are potent in the soul of some of these men of power. Where probably as a youth they had to prove themselves and failed, and then later on in life they grasped the brass ring another way or whatever. So I created a world for him that was specific, and I used something that my own father gave me that was meaningful to me. Sometimes I use a song that is pertinent to my character, and I'll hum the song right before a take, and it'll put me in the zone. And so it all depends, like what you need at the moment. It's like you got to be like a Batman, like have your utility belt, full of goodies and shit.
Well, you killed Batman last season, just to remind you.
And that's his thing. He has a little piece of Batman.
You made him into tacos, dude.
Goodness, that was a lot.
Terrifying to watch. Would you say that your character is redeemable or irredeemable? Just from what we've seen so far, in your opinion.
Every character is redeemable. Listen, I'm binging Game of Thrones right now. Okay. The first time I ever started watching the show, I'm already at episode 6 throughout this whole shoot that I'm here in Chicago in a month. And not episode 6, season 6 rather, and I'm watching the craziness of HBO, and I'm hating and loving all the characters. When you have when you have a show about power struggle, and kings and queens, nobody's safe, and everybody has there's a side to everybody that you can for 1 second go, what if that person didn't go through that, and perhaps they could be productive in a different way.
I think that's such a good point that every character in some way it has the capacity for redemption. Like in Game of Thrones, like Jaime Lannister or something like that. Like you hated Jaime Lannister, and now he's like one of your he's so he's awesome, right? I think that capacity, almost if you don't have that, in some ways a character can't keep you on his toes as much as, especially a bad character.
That adds to the humanity of a character as well. Where the villain doesn't even think of himself as the villain, right?
They never do, right?
They're the hero in their own story, right? Cortez is obviously the hero in his own story. Right. I would think he doesn't turn around and go twist his evil mustache and go, I'm going to tie a girl to a train track.
Usually, that's for a different kind of film.
What are you most excited about for the audience to see in the last bit? And obviously no spoilers, but in the evolution of Cortez, what's the most exciting part that for people to see coming up?
Basically what we're touching upon is that raw sense of history that he is conflicted with. He's as you can tell, even from episode 4 this season, I think, if I remember correctly, I did kind of, without even being directed to do so, I just felt the moment was appropriate where I felt like Cortez was starting to feel something for Camila. And then in episode 5, he has to sit there and watch Camila fornicate with Loas, and so it's like there's something there that he has a problem with, but he has to cover throughout because he has a job to get done. He has to he's trying to set things up so that they go his way, and the fact that she all of a sudden cooks for him, she doesn't know whether to trust her. He doesn't know whether to trust Camila or to accept this new open door that she proposed to him. So suddenly he doesn't know what to do with that. So he's trying to hold on to his military mind and his goal, but all of a sudden there's this little spark that's happening, which was written very well, and it's not really implied verbally, but kind of implied, within the breadths of the writing, within the space that the writers created, like Ryan, and Ryan could tell you as well, like what he had intended, and the rest of the writers had intended from the beginning of the season. But there is that.
Well, I think there's a really great thing for you is that moment, like, because we see you do receive it, and you're really like subtle in those moments. Like you and Veronica just kill it in those moments where suddenly you're opened up to the idea of it, the possibility of it makes you feel a little vulnerable. And when it gets thrown back in your face, it's like a slingshot, right? That you're like pulling back, and then that moment when in last episode where Kike throws it in your face that you're a fool, and that slingshot comes flying back, into his face.
Yeah. Was that that was a question that I had about last episode. Was that a decision? Was that a premeditated decision to kill Kike, do you think, on Cortez's part, or did that come out of Kike goading him and telling him that he was a puppet, and that was in the heat of the moment?
I think the latter. I think as an actor, I chose to go in there to take him in as a bargain. I think I'm pretty sure you could see it in the transition right when it wasn't going right for Kike anymore. All of a sudden, just snapped out of it and said, "You got to go, kid." And then that's also a thing where like he's struggling with the idea. He knows that Boaz is the character of Boaz is not the right leader to take over the cartel in the way that he's poised to do. So he's hoping that Kike is a different person, that perhaps Kike would be the next guy you know. So when he starts acting out like his own father, and you know, with this kind of, you know, macho and, you know, spit in your face attitude, then he knows that he's going to be a problem moving forward. Like, you know, when I research these kinds of people in these kinds of situations, you learn that, you know, guys in the military and law enforcement, they want to do away with the riffraff. They don't really want to deal with people like that. They rather deal with the thinkers, with the chess players, you know, in order to keep control of the whole drug trade, you know.
Right.
So yeah, he basically, you know, shot himself in the foot when he started disrespecting Cortez, and that was that.
So what are you going to do with our King George here?
I revealed nothing.
Yes. It's funny because, you know, Ryan, the producer writer, if you separate him from King George and his team, they keep us in the dark, you know, from every episode. So we, you know, we really honestly don't know exactly what's going to happen next. And as far as like the post-production part of it all, like when they start like editing and everything, I mean, it's like, you know, when I get to watch, I haven't seen tonight's episode. I'll probably watch it tomorrow. But when I do, I tend to get a little surprised here and there to see what the final product is of that episode, because even up until the last minute, the final hour, when I see an episode, I go, oh, that's where they're taking the character. You know what I mean? Like, they can do anything they want in post-production. That's the power.
All of a sudden, Cortez has an English accent.
What was that?
I said, all of a sudden, Cortez has an English accent.
Oh, did I?
Like Jodie Foster in Elysium.
That's too much of the Game of Thrones. King Lord, King James.
There you go. That was a beautiful.
Do Cortez and King George have any scenes coming up together that you can tell us about?
We can say yes, we have a scene, because what happened at the end of this episode? I forgot.
Captured.
They're going for spoilers, bro. It's the capture at the end of the episode.
So he's captured. He's captured. We're gonna have a conversation. How's that?
Well, Yancey, thank you.
Yancey
so
was
much.
awesome to work with.
I mean, you've been
across the board.
fantastic, even with the subtleties and just your character's so amazing this season, and obviously throughout the other seasons. But it's really nice to see this level of him. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. We know you're on the East Coast, so thank you for staying up with us.
Yeah.
Big air hugs to everybody, guys. Thank you so much. Brian, love you, bro.
Love you too, brother. Peace out, man.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Wow.
Thanks.
I mean,
Sweetheart, right?
amazing.
Yeah.
We almost got a spoiler.
So
So close. That was the goal the whole time.
You know what's so funny is I'm the guy, the kid that grew up like as I read a book, like when I read the Harry Potter books, I'm covering the other page. I don't even want to see words from the other page. I'm that guy that somebody like tells something to, you know, and I'm like, why did you tell me that? I don't want to know anything.
Right.
My wife is not like that. She's like, all right, tell me everything that's gonna happen that's bad that may upset me in some way right now, like prior to.
Well, guys, we had an amazing gift, but what are your overall thoughts about this entire episode? Because I feel like I saw 3 episodes in one.
I feel like a lot happened.
Yeah.
It was a movie. That was a movie.
It was a movie.
A lot happened in a short amount of time.
Yeah, compared to last episode, that was a little more on the calmer
Yeah.
side. This definitely just came full force. And
I was exhausted. I felt like how it would go from one storyline into the next storyline, and they kind of just fed right off of each other too. There was like, there was no jarring effect. It was very smooth. Unlike me with my water right there.
Well,
no.
mid-spill. Totally fine.
I think I
For
picked.
those people that are listening on iTunes, Jorge's not as graceful as the episode was.
Not as graceful as his beautiful hair is. I mean,
The episode got excited.
He just
But that's what
sacrificed
sweatshirts are for.
They're very
Not
absorbent.
just for wearing.
yeah. This 95-degree heat.
Live TV.
Live TV.
Have it
Thank
that
you.
way.
We'll just put that over there. Thank you.
It didn't happen. Nothing happened.
Nobody
Never
saw
happened.
anything. Nobody saw anything.
Back to the actual
editing
episode.
that we have. I mean, our editing team is fantastic. Matt and Nicole and Phil, they are amazing, and led by Natalie Chides, who really has a pretty incredible sense of post-production of editing and I was just sitting with her in the mix for a later episode for episode 12 of this season today, before this, and just her sense of like the minute details of like what the next moment needs to be, or how it's moving, or it's pretty astounding.
What was beautiful is there's the clip that we actually stopped through the commercials and watched where she said, that Asa's finding her way of being a boss and, finding her own power. And I'm going through that right now. And I feel like, do you think that she puts a lot of herself into Teresa and vice versa? Do you think that they kind
Natalie?
of coincide? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, I feel like Natalie is a perfect example of like a Latina who came up through a very completely male-dominated industry of writing for television, and slowly worked her way up with her brain and her talent. And I'm sure that's why she gravitated towards the story in the very beginning. And she has a real sense of like family, and she's super inclusive. I mean, don't screw her over. you know what I mean?
I would not.
No, but she is. Yeah, she's completely. I mean, I'm sure. She definitely puts it into the storylines. Like she'll come back and she'll tell a story about something she went through, and it'll end up being kind of a thematic, metaphoric thing for the episode. It was her idea to use the tarot cards as the titles and what each one means, and she was like, "That's what we're doing. Find a tarot card that you feel like represents your episode well, and pitch it back to me." Like,
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, guys, continue listening because we will have a reading of Potter.
Potter's tarot card reading.
Yes.
Okay.
Of what the tarot card of this episode actually is. So we're introducing a new
segment.
segment.
Pote's tarot card
We
reading.
figured it out
Awesome.
2 episodes ago that's what you guys were doing. And they were like, mind blown. So now we're just like reading it every single week. So it's amazing. But I really loved that it says like come to power in this episode, and really like taking the reins and making her decisions. And even with the conversation, I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but I think it was very indicative of where I see her power is the conversation with James, where she's like, I don't have trust. Like, it was the conversation of trust, and when people make decisions for me, I have a really hard time with that, but also like, I don't need your protection. And it was just really interesting to see where her head was at, especially when it comes to like romantic involvement mixed with business at the same time. It was a really interesting conversation that she was having.
She did that. Yeah, she did that twice, even with both the two. Like, oh, well, if Epifania would have told you to do that, would you have done it? Okay, then don't treat me the same way. Which I was like, yeah, girl.
She's very
exactly.
pragmatic.
We needed more of that.
She's like but what she inspires also by doing that, and she inspires a lot more loyalty than Camilla does, right? Because Camilla loses the loyalty of her own daughter in the drop of a hat, just.
And I do think that she's coming into her own. And you even said that there was such like a transitional point when Widow died, is that I think that she's now finally actualizing her power or seeing it in herself.
Yeah, you're seeing it. I mean, that kind of larger arc for her for this whole series. Like, you see the White Queen and you see where she is and how pragmatic she is, and in the beginning of each season, we do a little chapter of the Queen. You see her just sleep with the guy, turn around and kill him, and you don't see any emotion there, and you feel like, how is she gonna, kind of metamorphosize into this thing, and I think, and that's where, as you watch it episode to episode, you see the little cracks, or the forming of the chrysalis. She's the things that are make her darker, that she thought she could hold on to and keep her morality. This question of, will she keep her soul? Can she hold on to Teresa Mendoza as she slowly moves her way towards being that White Queen?
I feel like she reads a lot of Marcus Aurelius at the same time. She's a great stoic because she's just so on point. She's very clear about what her plans are and what it is that she wants. And should anybody question that, then there's the door.
Well, even in her speech at the reservation, and then moving into obviously at the very end when we see her being wronged, she's giving these powerful speeches, and she is one of those people that like she's trying her best to keep the white hat, but at the same time, when you've wronged her, all hell breaks loose.
She doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
She said, kill them all.
Yep.
How fun was shooting Devil's Highway though?
That was a blast. I mean, it was not necessarily a blast for the crew, I will say, because when when you shoot action sequences like that, and it was at nighttime, it's you're there from the you have to use every ounce of night, right? So you're there from like probably arrive all those trucks and everything arrives like an hour before, and then you should be ready to shoot like right as it gets dark. So, and then you're shooting until the second it gets light in the morning.
Oh
So that's like days of
So it's like 5 to 5.
Yeah, 5 to 5 is those are tough, but it was really fun being in the cars and I love shooting with Iba, who plays Bilal. Like he's such a rad dude. Like he lives in Austin. He owns this restaurant. And that he's such a badass and just a wonderful, kind-hearted man. That I aspire to be. As good as
I gotta
Iba.
say, that's one of my favorite parts about King George is like his loyalty to his men and Bilal in particular, and how you guys are so tight.
Family.
Yeah.
The show really deals with the idea of family and what that means, I think.
And you even say it to Teresa too. He's like, I got your back no matter what. And the minute that you said that, I knew that there was something going to happen to you.
I know,
I got your back no matter what. I was like,
You need to watch your back. Yeah.
I'm watching your back, but what about my back?
Yeah.
Nope. Gone.
But going back into the Devil's Highway though, how did you guys shoot that scene of the truck when it blew up?
When it blows up, I mean, really, you get one shot at that, right? So you're setting up for like an hour for that thing, and they've already rehearsed that like with another truck, like another van somewhere else to make sure that the thing works, and they've filmed it, and then you just hope on the day, because you don't have a chance to do it again, that when our incredible effects team blows that up, it like went upside down and all that stuff, and everybody's got to be far away. The people that are close are usually stunt people, and they've got like gasoline retardant on them to make sure. I mean, like fire retardant on them. It was cool though. It was pretty amazing to watch. Like anytime where you have some crazy explosion.
Yeah.
Like last year, I got to watch. I was there producing one of my episodes, and I got to watch when they burned Cortez, and it was like guys covered in that goop, and they're really on fire, and everybody's screaming, and it's like this, people are falling over. There's a gunfight, and then you can only shoot it for like 30 seconds or something like that, and then it's like cut, and they're covering them with blankets. They're spraying them with so it's a really intense. It feels really intense in those moments because it's like you can't mess around. People could get hurt, so there's not a lot of like joking around in those.
Wow, so you really feel the intensity that we feel at home watching in real life.
Exactly. Yeah.
I literally felt myself holding my breath about 4 or 5 times during this whole episode.
It was a lot. It was a lot of mini heart attacks.
There was a lot of drama and everything else that happened. So, Pote, what other type of drama we have?
Yeah.
oh, no, wait. I'm not reading this one.
It'll be me today. I'm sorry. Pote retired for the time being.
Yeah.
He's a little later. As you know, AfterBuzzers, we produce after shows for nearly all your TV shows, from drama, like we are now, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you should subscribe to all of our YouTube channels. And by subscribing, you'll actually help us out and find tailor-made content for you and help us continue to grow. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be, because you can turn them off. They're optional. So hit that subscribe button and... What'd you say? So hit that subscribe button and check out our other AfterBuzz TV channels as well. Let us know you did in the comments, and we're really good about shouting people out. So yeah, comment down there. And then follow us. And thank you for being the best fans and helping us be the ESPN of TV Talk. Thank you guys. Because you listen to the podcast too, right?
I do.
All the time. You say it every day. I mean, well, every week on the way to work, right?
Yes,
Yep.
because it's a great drive over to work in
Yeah.
LA. If you all aren't in LA, we have traffic here.
Yeah.
Just in
love it.
case.
Plenty of
It's
time to
fantastic.
listen to all the shows.
So I get to
More
listen
like
to all my
Armageddon.
shows.
There you go.
I was trying to
It's
be
not
positive,
that
okay?
bad, guys. It's not that bad.
You have the longest drive, so
I do.
if you can
Yeah,
say
I
that,
do.
and
It's
we're
not that bad.
exactly.
You pop in this podcast and you're good to go.
Exactly.
Listen to all of our lovely voices.
Yeah.
We're very smooth.
Should we let them hear your smooth?
I think people were really expecting you to do this today.
I was.
They don't really like my voice.
We love your voice.
Alex,
No.
you got a great voice.
I'm just
Alex,
saying.
come on.
Say that.
Awesome voice.
People haven't even commented, but they love your voice. You're fine.
Last week it
takes
wasn't
better.
even his voice anyway. He was doing Camilla. You know what I mean?
There you go. There you go.
I was doing my best attempt at Camila. I don't know, it's-
You got to get the breaths right, you know?
have to do the breath.
The
That's my
breaths.
character.
oh, yes.
Yeah. That's
We're
it.
supposed to
gotta
do a
get
scene. It's
Yeah.
Poti and Camila at some point.
Next week, though. Next week. But going on to Camila, though, with the whole conversation with Cortez and the recorder,
Yeah.
How could she be that dumb?
Snake.
I'm just saying.
That's
I
a question
agree.
for you. How could she be
How
that
could
dumb?
she?
Isabella?
No,
No,
Camila.
Camila.
Oh.
How did she not
She
know
didn't expect that.
That he had a
Cortez was-
recorder?
She knows
Yeah.
everything.
She did not expect that.
I think.
I feel like
And
she
the
always,
button, he
yeah.
slyly pulls it out. Do you know?
They always talk, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's the thing is that she feels like she's got the beast by the chain, you know, and that was the pact she made with the devil at the end of season 2. She was like, all right, you know, he got down on his knee and she said, knowing exactly who he is, goes, okay, I think I can keep this beast on the chain, and she's watching it slowly unravel, and you know, she's got a lot on her plate. She's so focused on Teresa that I think she doesn't really.
So she's blinded by her thirst for revenge.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she's blinded.
She makes
to
a
this
little
whole other
mistakes,
side.
you know, along the way, and that one is just like, I don't think she necessarily underestimates Cortez completely, but I think she is trying to play it. I mean, it's like when she does the thing where I'm making you know, pozole. You know, she thinks she's manipulating him, but she doesn't know that it is reversed behind her back yet.
She's dealing with a military.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think the soldiers at the end of the episode where she goes like, where are these?
She notices, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, what's up with these guards? And he's like, oh no, you need protection. I think she's sensing the walls are closing in a little bit.
Yeah, because the last shot of her, she's kind of like looking up. She opens the blinds and it's just kind of like, so maybe she'll notice something about them. I don't know.
You see, that's my question too. Is like, where are Camilla's loyal soldiers, right? Because I mean, so she's just basically using Cortez's army right now to do her bidding, but she doesn't have a Batman like Epifanio had, or like those little guys that helped burn Cortez in the first place. Like, where are her people?
I think that's really the thing is that Camila wants it all. You know what I mean? She's not, doesn't have that same idea of family. You know, and I think she's been wounded in the relationship she had with Epi. She's had to shut off these parts of herself, you know, to be all these things, to be the governor, to be this cartel lord. And I think that's in some ways that's really just the difference between Camila and Teresa, is that Camila thinks she can rule by fear, and Teresa attempts to rule by love and people aspiring to, you know, or at least the people close around her, that I'm gonna kind of lead by example, not lead by fear as much with her own people, you know.
Right.
And that would be her tragic flaw then.
Yeah, Camila's, I think.
Camilla's tragic flaw is her
Yeah,
hubris.
she doesn't
thinking
let
that she
anybody.
can-
She can't really. Yeah, that
that she can handle it all on her own. Cool.
She's going down.
She is going down. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely.
There can only be one queen.
But I really want to get back to Phoenix too as well with Teresa, because there was so much that happened with the negotiations and Pecas. And what are you guys feeling right now with this whole war that's about to ensue?
Well,
Becca's
Isabella's
gotta
about to
go.
get her hands dirty.
Yeah, we're gonna see badass Isabella soon.
But
Excited for that one.
I thought Sandy was
I wonder
awesome
if
in this
she's gonna-
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, subtle and so internalizing and she was great.
That's what I love so much about this show too, is that you guys do such a great job in all aspects, not just the writing and the performances, but the editing as well, of the subtleties that you catch. Like even with the hand grab at the very end, or like the eye darts, or like the emotion comes from just so subtle looks or moments. I love it. I'm sorry.
Leslie, I think something is going to go down. We both think that Isabella and Cortez might have something going on. The way he grabbed her hand.
He's going to try something.
Something.
He's creepy enough to do it.
I'm telling you.
Say those for predictions, because I don't know
how I feel about that.
That makes me uncomfortable.
It's a drama.
I know, but still.
I got a little uncomfortable watching it.
Watching
her grab her hand.
Like a brotherly hand grab.
Yeah.
It seemed more fatherly to me.
No. Fatherly, he wouldn't have went in between the fingers. Fatherly.
Or just twisted people, but that
seems like we're going back to Game of Thrones territory all over again.
Their brain now goes to the extreme.
Listen, you have done this to us.
I mean, the carving of her turned to cinder. And little T though.
Little.
I remember that moment when we came up with that in the room. Everybody was like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
Like that. Like, but that moment also, it was a good ooh. Like, that made us feel.
Who's the person that pitched that one?
I don't remember.
No.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Gosh.
I mean, that was just. She did a great performance this episode, though. She killed it.
Mm-hmm.
She really did. I loved it.
She's always down for whatever.
Little T.
Yeah.
I love her. Boom.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Just like so casual.
Yeah.
It's
Boom.
boom.
That's the only
Mine are so
surprise.
short, but
Yeah.
so good. That's great.
I'm gonna let you see. We got the good
This
stuff.
God, there was just so much this episode.
I know. I'm looking at your notes and I'm like overwhelmed. I'm like,
It's a whole page. But
It's a
I mean,
whole page.
I feel like it was all just surrounding Teresa's rise to power and establishing who she is. And hey, this is what my goals are. And if you're not going to follow that and be on my team, then get out. And
Well, I love how they buttoned the Teresa's part of the episode with the Queen showing up on her last part, being like, "Yeah, man, get
made a
ready,
deal with the devil."
Right.
Yeah, made a deal with the devil. Here you go."
oh, it's going to get
Oh,
worse.
that brings me to like this conversation about him, because I can't stand the sheriff.
Mayo.
Mayo is like,
I wasn't
who do
expecting
you
her
hate
to
more,
hit.
Mayo or Cortez?
Oh, Mayo.
Oh, that's an, I don't know.
No, I agree with you.
Loya.
Mayo.
That's interesting. That's interesting. No,
She hates Loya.
Yeah.
I really do.
She really does. Like consistent across the
Y'all
board.
can kill him off.
You can kill him off.
No,
Mayo-
I'm sorry, that's mean. That's mean. Just the character, not the actor.
No, but
Anyway,
Mayo is
sorry.
just
I
like
hope
that.
you don't mean the actor.
No, not at all.
I'm glad that you just
She
let me
would like
just
clarify
you know.
that.
I
Yeah,
needed to
yeah.
emphasize that. No.
No, but Mayo has to go. He's like really good news.
That was supposed to be a
there.
quick joke that nobody
No.
ever
No.
went on.
I
Okay.
didn't.
Yeah, because the gross thing about Mayo in some way is like Cortez in some way feels like he's a villain in our world. Mayo, like his philosophies and stuff like that, feel like he's a villain of our world.
Yeah.
You know, that you're
Right.
like just gross.
Like there are Mayos out there,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Well, is he based off of that sheriff that was pardoned?
Oh.
There might be there's some in there.
similarities
Yeah,
there.
some in there.
That is a good question. How much research do you guys put into all of these episodes and like real life experiences that you contribute? Because I think you mentioned it last season that you guys like really do a lot of research going into some of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, and I mean, me being like the only non-Latino on the writing staff, like
Join
bringing
the club.
You know what I mean?
You're adopted Latino at this point. I'm
You
sure
and me,
you
Alex.
are too.
I know, right? Yeah.
You're honorary Latino
Yeah.
at this point.
I know the handshake.
Thing.
But I think he's a composite of two different specific like real people, and then the brilliance that A. Martinez brings to it. I was there for the first reading because I was there producing a different episode. No, I was there producing episode 3 that I'd written, and he was starting. His first episode was 4, so we have a table reads, and I was just like, he started first line, and I was like, like just off the first table read, I was like,
Wow.
I'd say Martinez. Man.
creepy mother, and just so nice and so believable and just fantastic actor.
Matter of fact, he's got his story down. I mean, you knew after episode 4, was it, that there was no way that character was just going to go away. It's too compelling of a villain. Way too compelling of a villain to just like toss away as a one-off.
And I think we thought about when we first did it. I think the idea was to have it be a one-off, that she was encountering this thing, and then as the character grew and it became like, oh no, that guy's got to come back. Like he makes you a little sick.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah. Well, I know that as much as we want to talk about everything else that happened in this episode, because we could go on for hours, I do want to get to our special segment.
Oh, okay.
Our tarot card.
tarot
Tarot card reading.
Ooh, there goes the music.
Oh my god.
Hello, my AfterBuzz friends. So I did a little research on what El Carro means for tarot cards. And it is the Chariot. Meaning, the Chariot is a card about overcoming conflicts and moving forward in a positive direction. One needs to keep going on, and through sheer hard work and commitment, he or she will be victorious. And that is Pote's tarot card reading for this week.
Yes.
Some snaps in
That
there.
on my camera, you guys. That's just like
So hard not to laugh when you're doing that.
amazing. That was
good.
No, I squealed at the beginning. It's fine. It's fine.
Gotta turn on the voice every once in a while.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh, I love it. That's our new special segment. What'd you think?
I loved it. I love anything regarding Pote. Hemke, who's so fun. Like we just plays around on stage. On stage, on set. Like I always come up behind him, like, and go like, I'm gonna gut you like a pinche cochanito. because that's what he says to James in episode 3. He's always like, oh, gut you like a pinche cochanito.
I would love to see a standoff between you two, just in accents on set. King George versus Paul.
He's got it. No,
Just go.
winner. Like.
I love it when you pulled him over the side. It's like, you like weapons. I like weapons. Come on,
I
man.
actually think that Pote and King George have their own little special relationship. Where I call him Chewy, and on the side he calls me Gordito.
That was my dad's nickname growing up.
Chewy or Gordito?
Gordy. There you go. Hilarious.
Oh my God.
Well, I need to hear these predictions of your alls because it was a little. Y'all had something twisted. Just saying.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV
prediction?
prediction.
I have 2.
Okay, go.
Oh, she's ready. Go.
Isabella, I feel like we already know she's gonna go crazy, but I really feel like she's gonna do something to her mom, like physically in like a bad way, like harm her at first, and then like plan like what she's actually just to get payback for Kike, and then after that, I think she's gonna like plan her, revenge steps or whatever. But I think she's gonna like actually like do something right away, and then I think Mayo. I don't really trust him, even though Teresa paid him off or whatever and like threatened him or whatever. I feel like he's gonna do whatever is best for him, and I don't think a threat really bothers him or like makes him like shaking his boots or anything. So I feel like maybe Pecos is gonna get in his head again and like flip him back. It's just gonna be like back and forth. But I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon.
I agree with that. Even going off of that, I don't think Mayo even respects who Teresa is or sees the power that she has, just because he does seem like he'd be like which he is, a misogynistic pig.
Yes.
And so I could definitely see that happening. And even with Isabella, I don't know if I'd go the route of her doing something to her mom, but I think she'll get too far involved with Cortez that she'll kind of have to find a weird way out of it. Like, it's going to be like she's going to be so far gone and then realize where she's at.
I'm going to take the opposite approach.
Oh, go.
I feel like she knows. Because she's had this inkling around Cortez for a long time.
True.
And I think that she may be playing a little bit of his game and
that'd
giving
be
him
cool.
a taste of his own medicine. She's smart enough. She knows. And I think that she knows her mother well enough that she would never order him to kill Kike. I know that obviously she heard her on the tape recorder that she ordered something, but I think now she's getting in bed with the devil in order to like make something happen to revenge Kike's death. I think she's going to get really close to him in order to like play him.
I can see that.
I can totally see that.
Yeah, I changed my prediction.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I changed it.
Because I don't think he takes her serious. Cortez takes Isabella serious.
Oh,
I don't think
because she's so young, and maybe like I agree with you.
She's
maybe
a
she's
girl
playing his game.
and young.
Yeah.
Well, remember a few episodes back when she was like, "Go ahead and dance with my mother," and that was all like just a.
She knows.
She knows. She knows
She's
how to play.
intuitive.
She's been learning how to play the game.
I mean,
She's probably going to
Kike
be better at.
Kike knew how to push his buttons. So if he knew these two are close and they're the same age, so I'm assuming that she would already have had this all
and
figured out
she's the
anyway.
one that told Kike all of that information about him anyway.
But
Exactly.
Kike didn't know how to play his cards right.
No, clearly not.
Not
Clearly.
at all.
She's definitely
he
smarter.
overplayed his
Clearly
hand.
the women
Yeah.
are the smart ones.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
overplayed his hand. I think
I don't
Boaz
just
is coming back, and there's going to be
yeah.
some all-out war. I think Cortez is thinking that he's going to be able to play both sides against each other, and by the end of it, he might find himself on the wrong side of that stick. Like there might be some, I don't know, some new alliances made between Camilla and Boaz, because Camilla is missing her own soldiers. She needs somebody. So where else is she gonna go? Right? She's gonna have to make her own deal with the
Well,
devil.
she needs to make a deal with him fast before Cortez gets to him with the recorder as well. But I don't know. There's just a lot.
Ryan, any predictions?
Any
Any
I
predictions
love,
that you
I
might
love
have?
this part, like listening to like the
Are we
actors.
on
Like,
track with any of them?
I'm not
gonna
gonna
tell
reveal
us.
that. Come on.
Just tell us if we're warm or cold.
No.
Or...
It's warm in here, right? Like,
No, just kidding. I'll
That's all
take
the
it.
Latino-ness.
Also, since we have King George here, what do we think is going to happen to King George?
Man, I hope nothing bad.
I think King George is
He'll
going to
be
find his
fine.
way out
He'll
of there.
be
Yeah, they
fine.
cannot do anything to King
He'll
George.
charm
Like, come on.
Cortez. He'll be fine.
Yeah, but
You're going to charm
I
him.
don't feel so good about Bilal. I don't
Oh,
know.
no.
I know. I got
I
the
don't
same
feel so good for Bilal.
feelings.
So,
Bilal will save George.
Well, really, because the way King George yelled his name out at the end, like, hello. Like, I just felt like, oh, it's over for him. Oh, no. And maybe that'll change King George's character a lot. Like, maybe that'll really, like, maybe he won't be, like, as, like, happy and giddy as he is.
You've got a great poker
He'll
face.
go dark.
I'm trying, man.
Yeah.
I am not going to change a muscle on my face.
I'm just going to sit here real still.
He's got like a thumbtack in his shoe right now.
Pushing it, like yanking up the thong.
Super gold thong.
Good callback.
My last question for predictions. What do you think about Teresa and James? Do you think that it's going to continue after the conversation that she had with Pote?
I think it might. Because Pota didn't say anything bad. He just wants her to be honest. And he was like, he'll die for you. But maybe he meant he'll die for you, but like that's it.
But he
Maybe
also
he
said it
maybe
was
he meant like
dangerous.
there's nothing more to like the relationship or
Like he'll die for you, but he won't cook breakfast for you.
Yeah. Or like yeah, he'll die for
Coffee,
you,
no
but
go.
he's not worth actually being with. Maybe
He'll die for you, but he won't put the toilet seat down.
yeah. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. I think
You gave me a look, Leslie, you don't agree.
I don't know. I don't know what I think about
mixing
what'll
the
happen.
business with the pleasure element, I think that's the heed that was Pote was trying to give. It's not, you can make your own decisions, you're a grown woman, but just warning you, you're playing with fire a little bit. Also, I
It's
think,
such a small team. Like, don't
Right.
screw it up like that.
and also, you've already gotten so close to one of your other team members, and now he's gone. And he's literally giving the warning, he would die for you, so just be prepared, you may lose another love of your life as well.
I hope we got one of these predictions right because we haven't gotten anything this season really right. Except, I mean, you did last time. We're not the best with predictions.
Wait a second.
What else come true? No.
There's a lot of
What
negativity
have you guys said?
happening
What's
here.
happening?
This over here.
I'm gonna go back and rewatch
I
everything,
might-
and I'm
yeah.
gonna write
Have we
down
gotten
all
any
the
predictions
ones.
right? I mean, I just feel like it twists every
We've got
time,
a
and
good
we're
track
like,
record going.
We've got.
do we?
Yes, we do. Well, season
I'm gonna
2
look
we
back
have.
at
I don't know
that.
about you guys.
I'm gonna look back
we
at
were
I mean, I
good.
know you have
We were
pretty good
good.
predictions, but mine are never right. Okay, y'all will disagree. Okay, everybody's against Alex.
That sounds like a personal problem.
Okay,
I'm all Nostradamus up in this house. What do you, I don't know what you're talking
Okay.
about.
On a positive note, though, we do have a little bit of news. I know that we would like to share as well.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Dun, 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 dun.
Best anchor voice. Best anchor voice.
Best anchor voice. So we have our news today. I haven't done that cadence in a long time. I got rid of that a long time ago. Our very own Camila, Veronica Falcone, has just been announced in Variety that she is going to be on Jungle Cruise with Disney and Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, cool.
And who else is in this? Emily Blunt. So a lot of amazing people. So congratulations.
Super psyched. Yeah.
When do they? Do you know when they start? Do you know anything? Has she talked to you guys about it?
I think she's already there.
She is.
I think so. Like I think I was
Amazing.
texting with her. I thought she said she was already there. She'd been filming for a few weeks, but
That's amazing.
There's a chance I could be wrong. So if you're watching this, Veronica, I'm very sorry if I said that wrong.
Is she going to be like the sexy tour guide on the raft and be like,
I don't know.
Oh,
Welcome
don't
to
diminish her
Jungle.
to the
I feel like she's gonna be
stereotype.
the villain.
I don't know.
She's so good at that.
I don't know, but
find out.
I'm super excited. So congratulations to her. That's incredible.
That's exciting.
And that's pretty much.
For the
And
news.
that's the news.
That's the news.
Good
Do your
night.
best anchor voice.
Oh, what? My best anchor voice?
Yeah,
What do
you
want
just
me to
finished
say?
it. Just that's the news. Do it in your anchor voice.
And that's the news.
Oh,
Oh,
There you
Yo,
go.
that was yeah.
okay.
brava. Well, any last tidbits and stories that you'd like to share with us? Any spoilers you'd like to share with us? I'm trying really
Or
hard.
other projects you're working on
Yeah,
that you
exactly.
want to throw in there.
You know, I'm just chilling, man. I think of like our time off. We just wrapped today. We wrapped the final kind of mix, sound mix and stuff like that. Where there's they still have some color correction and VFX for stuff, but post production is pretty much wrapped. So now it's just like them coming out piece by piece. I have to say that this show's so fun. It's so fun that you get to make something, and then to hear like somebody like talk about it and actually like care and have fun and like make predictions and all that stuff is such a blast. And all the Twitter followers that are just the show has the most awesome fans.
Your fans run deep.
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
They're the
Like,
shit,
people
man.
drove
Yeah.
from long distances just to come to this premiere to even like
Dude.
be there.
We're so lucky. We're so that's what it's all about. It's like entertainment and fun and like touching people's hearts a little bit. I don't know, scaring people. All
You're
Everything
making
in
people care about drug dealers and
It's so hard to
what's
hate
going
them.
to happen to them
no.
on a weekly basis.
Now that you mention it. No, but I do think something that's interesting about it, like that, talking about Yancey and talking about Veronica is, and these are the darker characters. Mayo's kind of irredeemable, but like the darker characters that have these layers to them that they want love and they want there's everybody lives in the gray to a certain extent, like in the larger scheme of things, they're like you said, they're all drug dealers. Teresa and Camila are both drug dealers. They both do this horrible thing, but it's like, you're still human, but can you transcend that, or is it impossible? And I think that's the big equation of the show,
Yeah.
Well, when do we get to know anytime soon whether or not there's been a renewal? Are you guys waiting right now to hear anything?
I think we're still waiting. I'm not allowed to say anything about stuff like that. But I think
Right, obviously, but like I didn't know if there's supposed to be like a time frame that we're going to be looking forward to
you'll
hearing one
find
way or
out
the other.
very soon, I believe.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well,
Crossing fingers.
Yes.
Seriously.
I
Fingers
will
crossed.
flip tables if there's no fourth season. I'm just
No,
flip tables.
honestly.
Carajo coño. Hueputas. Just saying.
All right then. With that, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week. We had such an amazing episode to watch. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We
I really
loved having
appreciate
you
it.
on again. And thank you, Yancey, for coming on as well. We love talking to you. You really are a nice guy. We love to hate you, but we love to love you as well. So thank you guys so much again for joining us. Be sure to come back next week when we talk all about episode 9. Again, my name is Candice Cruz. You can find me on all my social media at Candice R. Cruz.
And I'm Leslie Ambriz. You can find me also on all social media at Leslie M. Ambriz.
I'm your girl, Alex Bowers. You can follow me all over at Hey Alex Bowers and catch me on Tuesdays, 90 Day Fiancé at 7.
I'm Jorge Pallo, and you can find me at the El Jorge on all of my social media, and you can catch me Wednesdays on Castle Rock.
And where can everyone find you?
On Twitter, I am Ryan Onan, and then on Instagram, I'm Onan the Barbarian.
Best Instagram handle ever. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.